Samantabhadra is a well-known bodhisattva in Mahayana Buddhism. He's, I think, primarily comes out of the Saddharma Pundarika Sutra and the Avatamsaka. And he is really known for different sets of vows. Basically, the vows relate to systems of practice in Mahayana Buddhism, and mental training and making offerings, etc. But when it comes to art, Samantabhadra is not all that popular or common in Himalayan art. Where we find Samantabhadra is as often a generic form, one of the 8 great bodhisattvas, or the 8 heart sons of Buddha Shakyamuni. But these 8, some of which are more well known than others, these 8 are normally depicted really more often with Amitabha Buddha and seated in the Sukhavati, the Dewachen Pure Land, with Amitabha Buddha as the central figure. That is actually often more common than Shakyamuni with the 8 bodhisattvas. And this has to do with art, but it also has to do with kind of coded iconographic imagery. In painting and murals and for sculpture, it is more common to have Shakyamuni depicted with the 2 main students and then the 16 elders, the patron, the attendant, and the 4 guardian kings. That's like a system. Whereas representing Mahayana Buddhism, you often have Amitabha Buddha in Sukhavati with these 8 great bodhisattvas. Now you know who the others are. Not all of them, but some of them. Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara, Vajrapani, Maitreya. These are really the 4 most famous in Himalayan art and in Himalayan Buddhism. We also have Akashagarbha, Kshitigarbha, etc. But Samantabhadra is mostly depicted in this grouping of the 8 great bodhisattvas. And often he's not even depicted with attributes. The Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara, Maitreya, yes, they will have recognizable attributes, but the Samantabhadra often won't. Now, in terms of sculpture, then he will be often standing. We have sets of 8 standing, and then Amitabha in the middle, all individually sculpted works. Now, for the other types of Samantabhadra that we will find, the next most common really is Samantabhadra riding an elephant. And all of these forms, he has 1 face, 2 arms. Riding the elephant, sometimes it has 2 tusks, sometimes the elephant has 6 tusks. It can vary, but also the hand attributes of Samantabhadra on the elephant can vary as well. They could be a vase, it could be a Vajra scepter, it could be a book, it could be a jewel, there could be a parasol. There's a great variety. Now, the standing form of Samantabhadra, or the seated next to Amitabha with the other bodhisattvas, this is coming out of an Indian type system. It's coming out of more of the Indian subcontinent. The Samantabhadra riding the elephant really does appear to come out of a Chinese iconographic background and aesthetic, and I am not sure on what the source texts are for him riding the elephant and depicted in this way, but riding the elephant has also been adopted by different regions of the Himalayas, so we can find Samantabhadra as a scroll work painting or a mural riding the elephant. Now, none of these so far, of the 2 I've described, none of these are really meditational forms. They're really Mahayana representations of a Mahayana figure coming out of literature. Now, for a meditational form, we really don't have any except for the Shakyasri Rakshita tradition. And this is a teacher who passed on a number of different meditation practices, some of which are very much related to China, such as the practice of Chunda and various forms of Avalokiteshvara. but also this practice of the 8 great bodhisattvas, or the 8 heart sons of the Buddha. Then there is a meditational practice for each of these that comes down through this Shakya-Sri Rakshita tradition. And we do not have a lot of examples in art for this. In this depiction, he's often he's described as red in color, and he holds a vase. Now, in art, we do have another form of Samantabhadra that comes out of the Kunchok Pende system, and this is really 16th, 17th century. It's really a 16th century system. Kunchok Pende was an artist from that period, and he was very much he was influential in the early Karmagadri painting styles of the Karmagar, the tent encampment of the Karmapas. So Kunchok Pende designed his own system, or he borrowed a system of depicting the 8 great bodhisattvas from China, and this was passed down, and then it was popularized by Situ Panchen Chukyi Jungne in the 18th century. And the key difference here is the color of Samantabhadra is blue, and he holds a book in his hands. So we don't have a lot of art. It's not a major meditational deity at all in Vajrayana Buddhism, but he's a very, very important figure for understanding different groupings of vows from the Mahayana systems of Buddhism. So you can press the like button, you can subscribe, and you can also support HAR by joining HAR on Patreon.